Good news, folks. I'm starting the show again today. Yeah, whatever. Today we're doing Lilo and Stitch. But don't get your hopes up. We're doing the live action remake. But I like Lilo and Stitch. I do. When I saw it way back when, saw the original version, I got obsessed with Hawaii for a while. Yeah, I had to go to Hawaii. I booked myself a trip. I go out there to Hawaii. I go to the beach. I want to learn to surf. So I booked a surfing lesson, and but those surfing instructors out there, they don't know what they're doing. Yeah, they have no idea. They gave me the surfboard. I got out in the water. I hopped up on the surfboard and went straight to the bottom. And I was just standing there, half submerged, looking like a bonehead. It was like being stuck in the tar pits again. Geez, you'd think those instructors had never taught a dinosaur how to ride a surfboard before. I should have gone to the tar pits. Yeah, I would have had a better time learning how to surf at La Brea. Surf La Brea. Just drop the title card. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Commander Go review of the live-action remake of Disney's Lilo and Stitch. And may I present my occasional co-host. He's big, he's blue, he's bold. Please welcome Bruce, the belligerent brontosaurus. Say hello, Bruce. Or should I say aloha? Yeah. Aloha. Aloha, everyone. Yeah, I like that word aloha. I used that all the time when I was on my trip to Hawaii. I like it because it means both hello and goodbye. So people come up to me and say, I can say to them aloha, and they don't know if I'm saying hi or if I'm telling them to get lost. Yeah, they just don't know. So Bruce, you like the original Lilo and Stitch? Yeah, what? I'd even say it's one of my favorites. Oh, really? Well, do you have anything you want to say about it before I begin the review? No. You know what? I think you should have me do the review with you this time. Oh, you want to stick around for the whole review? Yeah, I guess that would be fine. Yeah, I mean, after all, what are you paying me for? I gotta do something around here, right? What are you talking about, Bruce? I'm not paying you. Yeah, that's something else we're gonna have a little chat about. You and me, right after the show. Well, okay, I guess we're doing this review together. Okay, well, Bruce, you want to, do the introduction for us? Alright. Listen up, mammals. The review for Lilo and Stitch is coming up. So stay tuned, you're not going to want to miss it. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at some of the merchandise I found that ties into Lilo and Stitch. By the way, If you would like to see more content about pop culture, movies, and TV, then click that subscribe button. And hey, it just might brighten your day too. And now, on with the show. Lilo and Stitch is the live-action remake of the much-beloved 2002 Disney animated film of the same name. Like the original, it begins in space. Genetic scientist Dr. Jumba Jookiba and his creation, Experiment 626, are facing trial in front of the Galactic Federation. Jumba is found guilty of illegal genetic experimentation in the creation of the dangerous and destructive creature, Experiment 626. Jumba is sentenced to prison, while 626 is sentenced to life in exile. But Experiment 626 breaks free of his restraints and steals a spaceship and escapes. Yeah, this is where the movie goes off the rails for me. In the original, one of the guards on the prison ship was a dinosaur. Yeah, he was supposed to be an alien, whatever, but he was clearly a dinosaur. In the remake, no dinosaurs. Movie ruined, 0 stars, would not recommend. Well, this is just the beginning of the movie, Bruce. You gotta give it a chance. Alright. But this whole escape sequence just seems off to me. It goes by too fast. It's like they're rushing through it, trying to get it over with. But to be fair, the emotional core of the story is in the relationship between Stitch and Lilo and Nani. I'm sure they just didn't want to waste time getting to those relationships. Look, I'm all for that emotion stuff, but there's no harm in a little sci-fi space adventure on the side in a movie like this. But if that's what you came for, make sure you don't blink or you'll miss it. Experiment 626 crashes his spaceship into a small Hawaiian island on Earth. The Grand Councilwoman of the Galactic Federation decides to send 626's creator, Jumba, to Earth to capture him, since he is the only one with enough knowledge of 626's weaknesses to succeed in capturing him. But she sends their resident Earth expert Agent Pleakley to supervise him and keep him in line. On Earth, we meet 6-year-old Lilo and her 19-year-old sister Nani. They've lost their parents, and Nani has custody of Lilo for now, but they are being monitored by a social worker. She is kind and empathetic, but has identified some problems that Nani is struggling with that she will need to resolve or she will lose custody of her sister. Meanwhile, the CIA agent Cobra Bubbles has discovered the remains of 626's crashed spaceship and begins an investigation looking for the life form that the ship brought to Earth. Which amounts to exactly bupkis. The CIA investigation adds nothing to the story, and doesn't affect the ending at all. In the original, Cobra Bubbles was a former CIA agent who then became a social worker and was assigned to Lilo and Nani. He was like the most intimidating social worker ever. This guy put the tough in tough love, if you know what I'm saying. So when he said Lilo was going to be taken away from Nani, you believed it. That was a real threat there. But now that they've replaced him with a kinder, gentler social worker, the situation for Nani doesn't feel as desperate. In fact, nothing feels like as big a threat this time. You know Captain Gantu? He's the guy that looks like a giant shark on 2 legs. He was the main bad guy in the original. But he's not even in the remake. Instead, they just bumped Jumba up to main bad guy status. And look at this guy. He's just not that intimidating. Plus, Jumba has this little redemption arc going on in the background of the original. By making him the bad guy, they completely abandoned the redemption arc. 626 ends up in an animal shelter, where he figures out that he can avoid capture by using a human as a shield. So he poses as a dog, so that he can be adopted by a human. The next human to visit happens to be Lilo. She adopts 626, naming him Stitch. Lilo and Stitch soon find that they are kindred spirits, and a friendship begins to bloom. But can Stitch continue to evade capture, and can Nani hold their little family together, despite the chaos that this alien genetic experiment brings into their lives? And can they now all learn to become a family?
The best part of this movie is Stitch himself. He's pretty much just as you remember him, and the photoreal CGI effect that brings him to life is excellent. So detailed and expressive.
Yeah, too bad all the other CGI characters look like primordial ooze. The Grand Councilwoman, Jumba, and Pleakley all look like half-finished work-in-progress footage. They must have known how bad they looked too, because they gave Jumba and Pleakley human disguises after they arrive on Earth, so they could have human actors on the screen for most of the movie instead of those CGI eyesores.
To be fair though, if you don't have the resources to do all the CGI in the best quality, I do think concentrating on getting Stitch right is the best move. Jumba and Pleakley aren't going to make or break the movie, but Stitch is that make or break character.
What are you talking about? This is Disney. Do you seriously think they can't afford to get all the animation right on one of their high-profile movies?
Well, the real heart of the movie comes down to Stitch, Lilo, and Nani, and the relationships between them. And they are still pretty strong.
Kinda. But they're not as strong as they were in the original. Lilo's not quite the same. In the original, she was this weird little kid. Don't get me wrong, her weirdness was flippin' adorable. But it was 'cause she had her own way of seeing the world that she was such a handful for Nani. She was a square peg in a world full of round holes, so she had trouble finding ways to fit in. This is what Stitch saw in her. He was a creature made to be destructive. He was made not to fit in. So they bond over being outcasts. But despite lashing out sometimes, Lilo was a gentle soul, and that rubbed off on Stitch and helped them find a way to fit in as part of a family. In the remake, Lilo seems a lot more like a normal kid, just one that likes to pull pranks and get into mischief a little. This time Stitch bonds with her more as partners in mischief.
But it is still a bond that comes through to the audience. You can still feel the chemistry there. It still works.
Yeah, I guess, but not as well.
Perhaps, but I would still have to say this is one of Disney's better live-action remakes, because there is something enjoyable in those key relationships, even if those relationships were done better in the original.
Well, it might have been one of the better remakes if it weren't for the ending.
Well, we don't want to spoil the ending for the audience.
Why not? The ending spoiled the movie for me. Okay, well, let's just say that the ending of this movie says that if you fail in your responsibilities to your family, don't sweat it. Other people will take care of all of that for you. After all, it's more important that you get yourself an awesome, prestigious career. That's what really matters. 'Cause when you look back on your life when you're old and gray, you won't regret not being there for your family. No, you'll be thinking, I wish I had spent more time on my career.
That may be a little harsh, but I will say that what this movie presents as its happy ending is an outcome that no one was really pursuing. There was maybe one or two lines of dialogue mentioning that this outcome was something that one character used to think was important, but those priorities had changed, and no character still displayed any emotional investment in achieving that outcome. Which means that the audience has no investment in this outcome either. So it's pretty unsatisfying.
You're darn right it's unsatisfying.
So I guess with that in mind, I can't really recommend the Lilo and Stitch remake. But if you find yourself watching it, it won't be too hard to sit through. There are relationships there on the screen that you can sink your teeth into. But the ending may leave you unsatisfied.
I say just go watch the original animated Lilo and Stitch. It still holds up. And there's a dinosaur, which always makes any movie better.
Well, thanks for joining me, Bruce. Would you like to say goodbye to the audience?
So long, mammals. I'm out of here. Aloha.